This is Garrick Brown Art Studios, and I am back with another video. This is 5 reasons your bloom recipe is failing. Now, truth be told, the recipe really doesn't. So, as we get started, I want you to be open-minded. Now, y'all might not like what I'm about to say, but if you are failing at your bloom, it may be time to switch some things up. So, just clear your mind of everything you know, and then just try to see if one of these or a few of these tips may get you going in the right direction. Remember, failure sounds like such a harsh word, but it's truly nothing but success turned inside out. And without failure, there really isn't any success. Just a little food for thought. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Tip number 1. You are using too much paint. So, what does that mean? It doesn't mean, oh, I have too much paint on the canvas. It means you have so many different paint brands that you're mixing and mingling, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. But if you are unable to get your blooms going, this is a factor that you can kind of control in a process that there are so many factors that you cannot control. Let me explain. The bloom is a science. It's an art form of science and a little bit of magic. You can't really control where you live. Well, you could up and move, but you can't control the environmental factors. So you can't control the weather. You can't control the humidity. You can't control if it's 100 degrees one day or 0 degrees the next day. Those factors are going to have a role in the success in your bloom. But what you can control is the paint that you use. So if you have a heavy body paint and a craft paint, those paints are going to react differently. So if you're using them in the bloom, the recipe or the technique that you're using, the heavy body, is probably not going to work with the craft paint. So what I recommend is using the same type of paint, the same brand when getting started to see if that can get you going in the right direction. When I first got started, my paint brand of choice was Artisoft because that's what I had. Now that I'm a bit more experienced, I actually prefer Amsterdam, and there are a number of reasons. So here I have a couple bottles of Amsterdam. What I love about Amsterdam is they make it clear, telling you if it's opaque, semi-transparent, or transparent. They also give you some pluses here. And I'm not 100% sure what exactly they mean, but I assume it's giving you the level of potency. So this is opaque, and these are really, really opaque paints. Well, what I did was I found more paints that were just like it. So as you can see, these paints are the same. So doing that, you are taking away some of the guesswork and like, okay, what's working and what's not working, because you know you're using the same paints. And on top of that, you're going to get familiar with that paint brand. Every paint brand's genetic makeup is different because we don't know what exactly is going into these paints. But if you're using the same brand, there's a much better likelihood that you're getting the same ingredients. So, you know, it's giving you a better chance to get that successful bloom. Tip number 2. You are trying too many recipes. If you have been pouring for a while or been trying or attempting your bloom, you can really see the transformation over time with the amount of recipes and products being discontinued. I say all that to tell you that there is no one recipe that works. What works for me may not work for you. Remember, there are a lot of other factors that you cannot control that go into it. One being, you may buy the same paint from a Lowe's or Home Depot that I bought. However, you may live in Hawaii. that paint may have sat on a truck or a plane for weeks or days before it was put onto the shelf. And it probably was made in a different facility than the same paint can that I bought. So just because you buy the same paint from the same company does not mean that they're exactly the same. And those subtle nuances can change and affect your bloom. If you've taken the Bloom Art course by Shelee, which I highly recommend, I took it, head on over to the Facebook and you ton of resources. However, some people don't want to take the course, and while I recommend it, I get it. Everyone has their own reason or reason not to. This video is not trying to convince you to take the course, although I do recommend it. Find one or two artists that you like to look at and you like what you see. And see if they offer recipes on what they use. If they do, find one or two that you think, okay, I have those products. Let's try those. Stick to those recipes, one or two recipes, and make small changes to the recipe as you're testing it out. Now you are testing with the same colors and the same paint brand, so that's one less thing you have to worry about, and you're not switching back and forth between a number of different recipes. Because when you switch from artist to artist, every artist has found their own niche, but you have not gotten any success yet. So trying everything else really is kind of confusing. You want to narrow down. When you try a new recipe, you are kind of starting over. Because let's say you got a cake, you got all these ingredients, and you get to put in this, but then you start changing out different ingredients. You went from organic eggs to regular eggs and went from skim milk to whole milk. Now you're changing that genetic makeup, and now that cake don't taste so good. It works the same way in blooms. Tip number 3. Try metallic paints. Now, this may seem weird, but metallic paints seem to always give some really cool cell reaction. Not sure why, but the property and the makeup of metallic paint is different from your regular heavy body or regular craft paint. Any paint that's not metallic. It just seems like it's easier to sell up. I wouldn't be so much concerned about the brand because I've tried a number of different metallic brands and they all provide great cell reaction. With metallic paints, they have a tendency to thicken up on you. So if you mix your metallic paints and they seem a little bit thin, just let it sit out for overnight or for a day or two and it will thicken up some. Don't knock it until you try it. Tip number 4. You haven't practiced it. So this is like a little touchy, but the bloom is a hard technique. I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk. It took me months, and when I say months, I mean months of trial and error and failure. It is what it is. There are some people who get it on the first try, and I'm in awe every time. Wow. The paint gods must really be with them, because how? And many experienced artists will tell you, no matter how much you know about this art form, you are going to have some good days and bad days. So I say that as encouragement. If you haven't been able to get your bloom yet, don't worry, because once you get it, you're going to still not get it sometime. In the last year, I have poured over at least 500 tiles. That doesn't include any canvases or anything else, just tiles. I buy them by the carton, which they come 92 to a carton, and I experiment, trial and error. I like to let a lot of them dry even if I don't like it, so I can see how they dry and what changes I need to make, or if they crack, or if the paint fades, or if it changes colors, or if it gets darker when it dries. So you're always learning in this technique. It's inevitable. But this tip is you have to keep trying. Like, you can't give up. And this is a little bit cringeworthy for me because I like to think of myself as a little bit of an environmentalist. This is a wasteful art form, but there are ways that you can be less wasteful, and that's for another video. Tip number 5. Some of y'all not gonna like this one either, but take a break. Now, before y'all go clicking off this video, listen. Michael Jordan, world famous basketball player, household name even though he hasn't played in years. Michael Jordan took a break from basketball. He played baseball, I think for 2 years. We all need a break from time to time. If that means you're just watching videos for a week, or you put those paints up, go outside and wash your car, or, other things that you have interest in, pursue those things and then come back, or try a different paint technique, just to clear your mind and give yourself a chance to develop some new ideas and some revitalization, some new zeal for blooming again. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't quit. Don't give up. It's tough, but you will get it. Now, this video is not over just yet because y'all have made it this far, so you deserve a reward. So I told you that I was going to give you 5 reasons, but I'm actually going to give you 7 reasons. So, sit up. Tip number 6. Try the swipe technique. Now, hear me out. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I have dedicated a ton, and I mean a ton, of videos to the swipe technique. I'm actually going to link one up above. And the reason why I'm telling you to try this is, after studying swipes so much, the swipe technique is super duper forgiving. It's fun because you can get so many different reactions and you don't really have to worry about your paint consistency that much. It's so forgiving. If you are failing at blooming, getting a successful swipe could be that oomph that you need. Okay, I can get sales. I can produce something great. So now that I have done this, I know that my paints work. I know what I'm trying is working. I know that my pouring medium, my cell activator, I know all of that works. Now, since I was able to get it to work on a swipe, now I can try to get it to work for my bloom, make small adjustments. But seeing sometime is believing. And being able to see that you can produce cells from another technique will help translate over to the bloom technique. Tip number 7. Now, some of y'all have gone on beyond the point of no return, but this tip is simply to keep it simple. Some people go out and spend hundreds of dollars on products before they try their first bloom. Please, y'all, don't do that. Don't do it. You're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, because when you get to mixing all this paint up and opening all this stuff and the receipts are getting lost and thrown away and you're not getting any type of results, it can be extremely discouraging. While this paint form can be and is wasteful, you can definitely control your costs. Get just a couple colors. Find 1 or 2 recipes, like I just said previously, and buy those ingredients. Don't go buying every ingredient for every recipe, because you're not going to use every recipe. Amsterdam especially has these packs, small tubes of paint, which give you an opportunity to try out so many different colors without breaking the bank. So that's something to consider. Try to find packs of paints that, while you're not getting a lot in each tube, it'll allow you to play around with a bunch of different colors without spending a bunch of money. A lot of you all have spouses, and I have seen time and time again, my spouse would kill me if they knew how much I spent. For me, my imaginary girlfriend would kill me if I'm spending all this money and not getting any results, and I'm upset and moping around the house, and so keep it simple. Keep it simple. Like, please don't go out and spend all this money until you have gotten to a place that you want to be, and then you know what you need to buy versus going out and buying everything. Well, folks, this has been a very different video for me, and I really need your feedback. It took a lot for me to make this video because I wasn't sure I wanted to get into this space, but like I have said before, like, I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy helping other people and meeting so many different people from around the world. So I need some feedback. Do you like these type of informative videos? Should I stick to just painting? Like, I enjoy painting, but this is also an aspect of painting. I think tips are super important because you can watch someone do something all day, but sometimes you need those tips, like those little secrets, those little tidbits to get you over the hump, to get to, whatever you're trying, whatever technique that you're trying to succeed in. So this video is over. It's over, y'all. I'm always appreciative that you allow me in your home or your workspace or your quiet time, so I can spend a little bit of time with you. But please consider subscribing. As you may know, I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and that would just be really awesome. You know what I'm about to say. Family, do everything with love. We are in a new year, in a new season. So, treat everybody with love and respect and kindness. Even if you don't like them, you can still do things in love, even if you have to remove yourself from a person or a situation. But until next time, peace.